Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, good to be back with you again. I don't usually show this screen, but I'll show it to you here. This is the game that we just played if you didn't watch it already this morning. As you can see, me and the White Sox got off to a little bit of a lead in the first inning. It was exciting, kind of through the third. By the time we got to the fifth, though, it was pretty obvious what was going to happen. And, man, I tell you, the White Sox just completely obliterated the Tigers in this game. Now, I do want to ask you, though, a question about this game and every game that's like it, right? So you come up with games like this in every single replay you play, especially if you're doing it sort of the old school, like play every game way that I'm doing it. I know not everybody does that. You don't necessarily have to. But, I mean, even if you do a single team replay, even if you're replaying the postseason or whatever, you're going to come up with games in which it's just lopsided right from the start. Now, the question I have for you is, what do you do with a game like that, right? How do you make it interesting? How do you keep playing, right? I'll tell you one thing. When you're doing it like this on YouTube, it becomes kind of hard to keep your own attention, right? I mean, I want to keep attention to talk about whatever I see that is or is not interesting, for the audience. But I know myself that going part of the way through this game, I'm thinking I'm just going to tune out, especially if there's a lot left and it's like 10-0 or 15-0 or something like that, right? So what do you do? What is a good way to approach this when you have a game that is obviously a blowout, it's not competitive, and there's like really no point in it? I try to do some things, right, to make sure that these videos are interesting and that somebody out there might want to watch it. I mean, who knows? I may be just sort of fooling myself. But if you look here at the standings, for example, when I choose games to play, I try to stay away as much as I can from these teams that are like 3 games or more out of first, right? So if we're going to have Cincinnati play St. Louis, unless there's something really cool happening that I've noticed in the replay, like, somebody's going to break a record or something, I'm not going to show that. I'm not going to record it, right? Because, I mean, who wants to see that, right? It's not a competitive game at all. That doesn't have anything to do with the overarching storyline. At least for me, when I watch these games, I want to see something that actually matters. I want to see something that's going to be part of the longer story. It's harder, of course, when we come to the American League and we're seeing here all of these teams kind of bunched up at the top. I know it's early, but 16, 17 games in the season is not really that early. Usually you do see more separation. So this American League has been kind of unusual in 1908. But, that's kind of one of the things I try to do to make sure that there's some sort of overarching, larger storyline to what's happening. It's hard, though, sometimes to put that in, especially since in the course of the game, with both NPIII and with Diamond, it's kind of hard to see during the game the larger implication of everything. Now, I do know with Diamond, as we move forward, it's going to become easier and easier because of the way that the play-by-play system works. For other games, if we were playing with like Action PC Baseball with OOTP, I believe it's a little bit easier to see during the game the implications of everything that you have. Is a little bit easier to get that sort of wider storyline. But the question still remains, which is, when you have that individual game, even if it's an important game for the pennant race, and you're looking at, the Boston Massacre version 3 or something like that, I mean, what do you do? How do you handle this? How do you, how do you handle this as a replayer? How do you do this, especially if you're playing by yourself, right? How do you keep yourself interested in it? What do you do to make sure that, you're still going to play that next game? You're still going to be ready to roll the dice. You're still going to be ready to, go out and play it, even though that this one's a total waste, and you're thinking, what do I do to get that energy back in me? Be interested to know what you think, right? Something that doesn't just apply to baseball either. You see this, I think, a lot in football and basketball and, other games that you might replay, hockey and stuff like that. So, what do you do when it's just not competitive? Anyway, be interested to know what your answers are, and we'll leave it at that. Talk to you later. Bye.